Assalamu alaikum. I am Mirluna Latif. I'm going to talk about a project idea that is called Sentiment Analysis of Twitter Data for Protest Activity. I'm going to talk about interaction, background, data pre-processing, where I'm going to describe data extraction, word embedding, classification techniques, where I'm going to describe some classifier like multi-class, support vector machine, confusion matrix, and also I'm going to describe the decision tree, naive bias, k-nearest neighbor, and experiment and evaluation of my project and conclusion and references. Introduction. Social media plays an important role in organization of various social events such as gathering for celebration, parades, protests, and similar kind of actions. Twitter is an online microblogging website used by more than 100 million of people and more than one-sixth of world's population. Twitter's key role in recent protests are where people try to plan, announce, and protest in advance to encourage to make the gathering crowds larger. I'm going to analyze this Twitter data for sentiment analysis, where the sentiment can be either positive sentiment, negative sentiment, and neutral sentiment also. And I'm going to use different types of machine learning model classifier uh, that is going to be used to determine the sentiment within the tweets or tweets data. The classifier then will be compared against each other for their accuracy. Background. Twitter's key role in recent protests such as those that lead to Arab Spring, London riots, Thailand protests, Occupy Wall Street, focusing in the literature include those that perform the tweet's content and sentiment analysis during the events and protests, investigate the tweeters used, habits, the times of crisis, and natural disaster describe, model, and interpret the user's network and relationship between the social network as well as the social movements. I'm going to observe two main approach that can be first as the online properties of online users network interaction on social media and activities, and second approach is based on the features derived from the aggregated users post and their content. Here I'm going to, for sentiment analysis, I'm going to data will be pre-processed, and for data pre-processed, first I'm going to extract the data. For data extraction, the dataset contains the various tweets that will be taken from Kaggle dataset, which is available in the online platform, and I can download there and use that sentiment for sentiment analysis to verify the protest sentiment on Twitter using the Twitter, and the Twitter are mix of positive, negative, and neutral sentiment. Then I'm going to collect on the English letter, convert it in smaller letter form of English letter. Then I'm going to then the Twitter will go undergo for many stages of pre-processing cleanup, um, like Twitter handlers and URL symbols. Pronunciation will be removed, and also I'm going to remove the like is or the like the stop word. Uh, And stop word will be removed using the NLKit stop word list that is also available from a math platform. And I'm going to use then the lemmatized method. That is, if a word is written as the past participle form, it can be converted into its base form. That is, if a word is written as advice, for example, it can be converted into advice form. That's the base form of advised. Then I will go to the word embedding for the process, continuation, and continuity. And here, each of the word will be mapped in matrix format, and the paragraph and the word will be concatenated to predict the next word, and it will act as a memory to remember, and the missing words will in the Twitter, uh, which is why it's called the distributed memory model of the paragraph. Each of the word and paragraph will be converted to a picture form. Classification techniques. I'm going to use different classification techniques for classify the sentiment, and as I'm going to use the positive, negative, and neutral data set uh, finding the three types of sentiment. I'm going to use multi-class classifier techniques, and after that, those classifiers will compare against each other for their own accuracy comparison. I'm going to use here a multi-class SVM, that support vector machine, and here is the two types of support vector machine approach. One is one versus rest, and the another one is one versus one. What is one versus rest? One versus rest is first, I first the approach will classify the one class from the dataset, and after that, the one after another will be happen. Each of the iteration will define or find one classifier for one versus rest approach. For the second strategy, we can or I can use one versus one. There will be a pair of dataset will go for the iteration, and each of that iteration will uh, fetch or will find or classify one class from the pair, and after that the whole data will go for that iteration by pair of that dataset. I'm going to use a confusion matrix. What is confusion matrix? It is used for multi-class classification. Summarize the performance of classification in n into m matrix form. N is the number of the target class, and here you can see there is three types of class is defined. That is 1 to 17 and 1 to 8, 18 to 34 and 35 to 51, and it is in n to n matrix, and we can see 1 to 17 has 8 to 19 result, and we can find this matrix form by using the Python script um, for data analysis by data analysis. Okay. After that, I'm going to use. I can also use the decision tree. What is decision tree? Tree in the by using the tree concept or graph concept, we know that tree is a combination of root and its nodes or children or leaf. What is root? Root is the starting value or starting node and the age and the next children of this root and the left. Here is the right children, here's the middle, here's the left. Here you can see for the decision tree analysis or classifier, we are going to um, we are going to use the example written in shown in here. That is, we are going to find the iteration until we find the red color or triangle shape. And you can see we can go from this right to left, left to right, or middle to left right form. And when we find the red color, we will stop our iteration, and until we find the red color triangle shape, we will continue. Here you can see if we go to the right side, we have found the green color that is not our expected result, then we will continue our iteration to find the red color triangle shape where we didn't find, because in B note there is square and green shape is square and green is color, and in A here is a circle shape and green color. We will go back to the root node and then go back to the left node, and we can see the here is the blue color where the triangle shape is found in B, but either each but the another A and C node has square shape and circle shape respectively. So until we find this result, the iteration will continue. Here we can find the multi-class classification by using the decision tree until we find the expected result. Naive Bayes. What is naive Bayes? Naive Bayes is a classifier which is combination of conditional rule, that is two types of two combination of combination of two conditional rule, that is one is here and another one is here. The formula is probability of y given x is equal to probability of x given y into the probability of y divided by probability of x, where k is the class of y and the probability of here the probability of x given y is defined as probability of x and y divided by probability of y. And after that, we'll go for the rest of this process. It is for the two classifier or two class classifier process, and if we want to go for the multi-class independent variable or multi-class classification process, we can go for this formula. Using this formula, this is the same formula as the previous one, and we can see the x has the variable that is start from x1 to the xn. Okay, k nearest neighbor classifier will be used where k is the parameter. What is k? K is the, if we say k is 3, that means the the value of the k, that means the selecting k will be the square root of total number of dataset, and square root of total number of dataset can be uh, uh, the class k can be equal to, if let's say k can be equal to 3, then the majority of 3 neighbor will be count for the uh, test or count for the uh, next iteration. So, if the small value of k is taken, or we can define, or we can get, then the higher influence result will happen. That will influence the result higher. And KNN is used for classification, form, and regression. Here is the flowchart of KNN where we will start the read the value of k, which can be either 1 to any number, and type of the distance from k to the neighbor data and the test data. Find the nearest neighbor uh, from k of that distance, and set the maximum level class of k to test the data, and then after finding that the class, we will stop our process. After that, uh, how we will do our experiment, or how we will do our project. Hmm, we will use, I'm going to use the Python for data validation, data extracting, for the sentiment analysis. Here I'm going to perform, or here will perform train test split using 80-20 rule. That means 80% of data will go for test and training, and 20% data for test, where the data will be known before test. And the precision, recall, it measures to evaluate the overall accuracy of the classifier conclusion. There is still scope for the improvement of this analysis as a major setback, though the limited number of tweets used in the training model and the increasing number of tweets, we can build a stronger model, thus resulting in better result classification accuracy. Word level analysis of tweets without preserving the word order, and phrase level analysis of tweets will be handled. Here is the references. I have given on three references. For example, or in short, there is three is the web, and thank you. I'm also going to show you my uh, project idea. I have written in Let's form C, and here you can see it's a it's under for processing or working. It will also uh, go for evaluation. I'm still working on it, and you can see after clicking on this, we can find the reference reference that, yeah, and also here you can see the PDF format of my um, paper or project proposal, that is sentiment analysis of Twitter data. I'm still working on it. I've written data extraction errors, which I have told this classification and other things in the presentation. I will try to complete the project from. Assalamualaikum for listening.